All right, today's video is a little bit on meet day kind of preparation for setting your numbers and having a little bit of a meet day plan for your numbers. This is important because you may have been training really hard for a goal, but understanding how to get on the platform and express that goal is really important. You need to have a meet day plan. And so it's important that you understand what your openers are going to be and then how you're going to get to your goal attempts. So a big part of that is also understanding that if you've been training for a certain number, that you're going to be lifting in kilograms, not pounds. And many people train in pounds. So let's just say you have a goal of 135-pound bench. You're going to show up on meet day and you're either going to be hitting a 132-pound bench or a roughly 38-pound bench. Kilos are a little different. And so if your goal is 135, you'll see on the kilo chart here, it's either going to be a 132 or a 60 kilogram lift or a 137-pound bench press. You can go on most federations' websites and they should have their loading charts and what the jumps look like. Most of the time you're lifting and taking attempts in 2.5 kilogram jumps. All right, so a little over 5 pounds per jump in lifts. It's also really important that you understand how to open your lifts and how to finish your lifts, your attempts. You only get 3 attempts. And if you miss an attempt, say you miss your opener, you miss your opening bench press attempt, you only have 2 more attempts and you can't go down. So if you miss your first attempt, you can't say, okay, that was a little too heavy. Can I go lighter? You can either stay the same or move up. But nothing is worse than missing an opener because it was too heavy or whatever it is, because now you just lost an attempt. And if you miss all 3 of those attempts, you bomb out of the meet and you can't lift anymore. Or if they let you lift, it doesn't count on the totals and you kind of disqualified from the meet. So it's important that you have a decent strategy. That's why a good coach and handler or handler is really important for you especially if you're competing in your first meet and understanding the rules of the competition. So getting the chart ahead of time and understanding that is important. They have these at meet day, but nothing is worse than a lifter showing up and not having a meet day strategy because they do their attempt, and after your attempt, you have 1 minute to get your second attempt in. And I see it all the time, lifters scrambling and looking at this chart frantically trying to figure out what they should do next, and they're already stressed lifting. And if you don't get it in within a minute, then the table usually bumps your number up 2.5 kilos. And so then you don't get a choice in your next lift. It also can cause a little stress at the table because they're waiting for you to bring your numbers in, and they have to, the judging table has to also pay attention to the next lifters. So it's really important to have an organization going into meet day. So before you show up on meet day, you want to have all your openers set in kilograms and know what those openers are. So this is a card I use for our lifters at Tucson Barbell Club and Tucson Strength. And so I know there's a lot of different ways to set numbers, but I will have the opener set. You don't have to give the table all 3 of your attempts. You just give them your opener. But I know what I want for my lifters to hit. And we have a plan. Sometimes we have plan A and plan B. But we have their opener set in kilos. So 120 kilograms is a 264-pound opener. So if someone's goal, let's say, is a 300-pound squat, well, it's going to be 303 that day. All right. That's how the kilos work out. So I usually open my lifters, and it really depends on the person and different strategies, but somewhere around 87 to 90% of their goal weight. So it's a number that they could hit at least 4 times. So somewhere between 87 and 90% of so I want them to feel confident on that first lift. It should be like a heavy warm up. And so I have an example could be that they're going to open up at 264. They hit that lift successfully. They go over to the score table, and then they say, okay, my next attempt is going to be 130 kilograms. And so 130 kilograms, you write it down, and they're off resting before their next attempt. And then if that goes well, we say, great, stick to the game plan, 137 or 303, you just give that number to the table, and that's that. I even go so far as writing this down for my lifters to know what their warm-ups should be, which is a whole nother thing of timing warm-ups, which we'll talk about in another video. But that's a little bit of ways to do it, is understanding that you should have an organization and a game plan set for meet day. And understanding that, it's going to be in kilos and that you are going to have it organized in an organized fashion so you're not frustrated and rushing on meet day. All right. So that's a little talk on that. Kilo charts, meet cards, get a handler or a coach.